So Evo 2017, it's the third Evo I've watched in my lifetime. The first two were Smash 4 because back then, which would be 2015, 2016, I was a competitive Smash player. Not a good one, but I was one. Hence why I was called I named my channel Failed Up Smash. But so this year I decided to watch Tekken 7 in order to improve my ability because I would expect some high tier play. More on that later. Guilty Gear because I'm interested in that game, and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is most part surprising since I absolutely hate that game. And from a Twitch viewer perspective, it wasn't bad, but there are definitely issues I had with watching it, and here's my list of things I hate. First, sub-only chats. Now, I don't know about you, and I seem to be in the minority here, but the most important thing about going to the movies, to me, is the community aspect of watching and reacting to what's on the screen with others. If that means I have to deal with talkers, I'm fine with that, since that's how they chose to react or respond to whatever's on the screen. I carry the same belief when I watch live streams. In fact, with the exception of Etika World Network, my favorite part of a live stream is reading the comments. So when Evo turned the chat to sub mode only on Twitch, part of my interest went away since I couldn't build off the energy of the chat. And that became a problem when the second thing happened, which is a scrubs playing during pools. So my 2017 experience of Evo began with watching Tekken 4 hours already in pools. Pools. And it was pretty boring in my opinion. Most people who are playing were pretty terrible. Like my level of bad kind of terrible, and I don't even play the game very often. In fact, I'm currently taking a break because I'm that bad. I didn't want to deal with it. And the thing I was wondering is why they even waste their time and money going to Evo if I felt that I could beat them in a match. I don't know what they were expecting to get from it. Were they expecting to beat all the gods and win the prize pool, which was very unlikely? Were they trying to spread their name to the world and gain prestige for whatever reason they need to? Were they trying to play good matches? Because I saw none of those things as I was watching. Instead, all I saw were people getting freed up during the entire match. Now, then that leads to my last problem that happened from a viewer perspective, which is the lack of variety. When on one hand you have people who were pretty trash, and unfortunately for me, they were the ones actually picking unique characters. On the flip side, there was a lack of variety once you got higher up in the play, and this biggest problem was seen in Marvel vs. Capcom 3, because when I was watching it, all I saw for most matches were Doctor Doom, Magneto, Zero, Morgan, Virgil, and featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. And during the time, I would root for the team with the fewest on that list. And I get that money's on the line, but it gets boring to watch seeing Zero, usually with Doom's missile assist and Virgil's dash dingy assist that he has, hit the person with an infinite, and it happens so often that I memorize it. And so when I saw Zero, I got pissed every time he landed, because I would go, okay, here comes the electric infinite that he's about to do, and that's what would happen over and over again. I don't give a goddamn. Fuck you. Now, I understand that by choosing to watch Marvel, I should be expecting that. But, I would like to see other characters playing, like Beautiful Joe, which was only once. Now, speaking of Marvel vs. Capcom, after the grand finals of Marvel vs. Capcom 3, they showed more infinite gameplay, which I think is a bad idea, since we have the predecessor, which is Marvel's Capcom 3, fresh in our minds. The difference between that and Infinite becomes way more apparent and more immediate as they're showing it. Infinite overall looks slower and clunkier than 3, slightly, not too much, and I think most people would agree, even though as it tends to be the case, most people tend to bandwagon. Now, something about the longer time to kill and the shorter, less damaging combos kind of reminded me of Street Fighter 5, which, according to my friend when I sent it to him in a group chat, he thought was a bad thing. Now, the biggest gripe for me, when I'm talking about Infinite, not Street Fighter 5, is that the taxes doesn't really seem to work too well. I mean, there is some things about that work, but what I'm specifically referring to is when combos come to mind. Because when you tag and halfway through a combo, or whenever you just decide to tag, they always come from the ground, and I just can't imagine that working out, from what I've seen, of course, too well. When there's definitely a lot of aerial combos, it doesn't seem kind of useless. Now, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and just assume that since it's more of a tech demo, and they probably don't know the most optimized moves and everything like that in the frame data, they just kind of didn't know fully how to make it work out. I'm just going to give them the benefit of the doubt there. Now, time for unpopular opinion time. I actually like this presentation of Marvel Infinite. I definitely think it was better representation of the game than the story demo they released during E3, which I thought, and I bet most people thought that it was the worst thing they could have went with, really. Because the story demo didn't give fans, the actual players who played 3, the opportunity to try out the game and see how it stacks up against 3. And new consumers like me, they're trying to attract, which I think they're trying to attract the hardest, didn't even get enough time to play it to even really get a feel for the game. It was, it started and then it ended, and all the matches, and I'm putting this in quotation marks, didn't even really last that long. Now, in comparison, I think this presentation that they showed during Evo was a way better representation of the game than the story demo, because it serves those two purposes. These are seeing two people play actual matches. You can kind of get a feel for it from both, the fans' perspective, because they're actually doing combos, and from beginners like me, who can actually see, this game is going to be this fast or this slow, or going to have a lot of inputs, etc., etc. Now, although we didn't get our hands on it, and I am saying we as in the Twitch viewers, at least any Twitch viewers that didn't get their hands on it previously, based on what I've seen, and it seems like a lot of people who actually had a chance to play it would cooperate with this, it seemed to play just like Marvel, for the most part. And because during times I could see interesting setups going on, or at least I can imagine setups like with the Shane box, and I can see elaborate combos going on, like the one that kind of makes me question the tag system, which, since I haven't said it, there was Combo Fiend who was hitting Filipino Champ, I believe, with a combo, ending it with a super, and then before the super ended, tagged in Mega Man to start blasting in the air. And I saw that, I sent to my friend, the same one who I mentioned it looked like Street Fighter 5. It actually looks like there's some stuff going on, although he didn't believe me, and I doubt most people would. Now, besides that, I also think Jeddah was pretty cool. He's probably the best part of that presentation, or Jita, whatever his name is pronounced. And Gamora looks interesting, not in the gameplay's why, but I mean actual model looks interesting, so I'll give them that. Now, if they stick with doing this, I think they're going to at least recover half of their reputation that they lost with the story demo and the leak list and everything I mentioned in my last video about this game. Unfortunately, which is probably going to be its biggest detriment, as this was happening, Geese Howard from King of Fighters was announced as DLC for Tekken 7, and it also, as that was happening, Trunks was revealed for Dragon Ball FighterZ, both reminding me, how Marvel and Capcom are doing a bad job satisfying their fans and making more interesting crossovers than Marvel and Capcom Infinite is doing. Right, and I forgot there was another thing that happened during Evo. They just announced a crossover for Blaze Blue and Persona 5, no, not 5, Persona 4 Arena, and Ruby. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's coming out that's overshadowing the hype of Marvel vs. Capcom. Now, I'm trying a new video type instead of having a script. Well, I still have a script, but instead of fully relying on said script, kind of just going off my mind more than I would usually. Now, if you are still watching, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm willing to take suggestions. I want to see how this works out. So just tell me in any physical way possible, even in smoke, if this works or not. And I'll try to do something different. Bye.